I went to the House of Horrors, which was the haunted house I told you about in last week's video, and it was supposed to be super good and super scary, and it definitely was. Holy cow, best haunted house I've ever been to in my life, hands down. No question about it. The haunted house was in downtown LA, and it was set up in like this old theater. There's rumors that the theater itself is haunted, so it's already kind of creepy even before you add all the special effects. So I went with Katrina. We're buying our tickets, and the ticket booth is kind of over on the side, and then there's like a glass window, and on the other side of that is like where the line for the haunted house is. And then this creepy guy with like this metal thing on his head, and he's, you know, obviously he's bloody, and he's got like these things on like the ends of his fingers, so when he taps the glass like this, it makes like this really creepy noise. And so he went up to the glass and he put his face right up against it, and then he like did that thing with his fingers, and he would just like stare directly at me. I was like, oh gosh, like this is already bad. So then we go on the other side of the glass to get in line, and of course the first thing that guy does is he comes right up into my face, and he was like, I was watching you from the other side of the glass, and like all this like creepy stuff. And I was like, okay, is this guy trying to scare me, or is this guy trying to hit on me? And like, what's happening right now? Eventually he just stops talking altogether and just stares at me, and I was like, okay, you know, how long is this gonna go on for? It lasted the entire time we were in line. No joke. He like followed me through the line, stood next to me the whole time, didn't say a word, just stared at me. We finally go behind the curtain, and then there's like this usher guy, because you know it's set up in the theater, and so there's ushers, except these ushers are dead. Our usher's name was Clyde, and he was telling us about like the history of the theater, and it all revolves around this one magic show that took place in the theater years and years and years ago. There's like 3 different levels that you go through in this haunted house, and so once we get to the second level, it was called like the Magi's Lair, and because you know the whole thing, it revolves around a magic show, and so of course you have to have a magi. We walk in this room, and there's this guy, and he's like leading us through the room and whatever, and then all of a sudden he stops, and everything in the room starts like going haywire. Big crashing noises, and you know, like lights are flickering and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, like the guy who was leading us through the room runs up to me and points at me, and he's like, what did you do? I was like, oh dang, this is not gonna go well. And so then sure enough, here comes the Magi out of one of the curtains, and so like we all turn around to face him, and he points at me and he was like, you come here. And I definitely didn't move. Nope, not going up there. And then everyone started like pushing me. They're like, get up there. And I'm like, you stop right now. Stop this. But I eventually went up there. He took a cup of something. He like held it above my head, and he was like, you are now my slave. You can never leave, and blah, 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 blah. And then he like dumped it on my head, and then he like dismissed everyone else. And so I'm like, okay, sweet, I'm getting out of here. And he like stuck his arm out. He was like, not you. I was like literally stuck in this room, and everyone else just kind of left me. Then the guy like completely broke character, and he was like, hey, come back at 1, bring some friends, we can party. Okay, sweet, sounds super. Can I go now? So I bolt out of the doors, and I find, you know, the group standing on the other side, so they didn't even get far. But anyway, we made it up all 3 levels. So now we have to come back down, obviously, to get out of the theater. And so we all get in this elevator, and the guy, you know, there's like another one of those dead usher guys in the elevator. And then all of a sudden, like, I felt like I was in the Hollywood Tower of Terror, because the elevator literally drops, and then stops, and then drops, and then stops, and then drops a little more, and then stops, and we're all like, oh geez Louise, this is freaky. And then the little usher guy, he was like, listen, there's an emergency exit, we all need to get out of here, this elevator's falling, but I need someone to pull the latch. And the emergency exit was like behind us, so we all turned around, and then that's when we see like the latch on the wall. And so everyone like backs up, no one's even going near it. So I, being the fearless woman that I am, went up and I pulled the latch. And what happens when I pull the latch? The doors burst open, and my friend from the beginning of the haunted house, the one that was creeping on me in the line, there he is, just staring at me, and he's like, oh, I was hoping I would see you again. It was so scary. You literally felt like you were walking through a horror movie. I've definitely never have been that scared in a haunted house before in my life, so it was definitely worth the money, and I'm so glad that I went. And if they do it again next year, then I for sure will be going because it was so good. I hope you had a happy Halloween. And I also hope that you had the chance to kiss a Romanian while you were in Romania, because I do believe that that was on your list of things to do. So I hope you made that happen. If not, I will be very disappointed in you. I'll talk to you later. Bye, Rachel.